Hello, and thank you for coming to the McWaters Effect. I'm your host, Matt, and today I'm going to be talking about Ron Paul. But first, I need you to hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Now let's go ahead and watch this video.
This comes after Richard Marx, a 1980s singer who now has a podcast, tweeted, "I'll say it again. If I ever meet Rand Paul's neighbor, I'm going to hug him and buy him as many drinks as he can consume." Marx was referring to the 2017 incident when Paul was assaulted by his neighbor. Marx says Paul's decision not to get the COVID-19 vaccine is putting others at risk. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is here exclusively. Senator, good to have you with us today. You tweeted, "I have been targeted multiple times now. It is reprehensible that Twitter allows C-list celebrities," referring to Marx, "to advocate for violence against me and my family." But let's start with where this investigation is now. Any information on who may have sent you this letter with the white powder?
No, they will investigate it. It's hard to find people who send things to the mail, but they do sometimes, and they will continue to look. But for, people like this, songwriter from a long time ago that no one's ever heard of, the thing is that hundreds of people on Twitter every day are wishing me violence, wishing my family violence. Twitter claims that they have a policy, but they don't take it down. They leave it up. Twitter's now announced today this guy doesn't violate their policy. So he's allowed to offer to buy drinks to somebody. I almost died at one time from the infections and from the lung surgery that I had. And they're allowed to go on Twitter every day. This company allows them to go, and it's a private company, so they can do it if they want. But this is a private company that basically hates conservatives, hates Republicans. They don't want us on there. And ultimately, the answer maybe is Republicans need to just quit. We just need to leave it, because every day they allow hundreds, if not thousands of people to wish me and my family violence. And frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of them allowing this, and I'm tired of them blaming it on the right. I was at the ball field when a Bernie Sanders shooter almost killed Steve Scalise, wounded 5 other people. So I'm sick and tired of the violence coming from the left, but I'm sick and tired of the left-wing press then blaming it all on Donald Trump or on me or others. So I'm tired of it.
You make an excellent point. And, when I think about people who I've heard of and known who, retweeted an article or something, and then suddenly they get shut down. And you look at this stuff that has been coming at you, and I think it's understandable that you feel that there should be some ramifications for this. The problem is there's no standard. It's so arbitrary. They just sort of decide whether or not they like something or someone, and they're okay with it. So somebody, tweeted about what Mr. Marx wrote, and then he, says back to this guy, John Dennis, "You see, Johnny Bob," and he goes after him. He says, I never incited or even suggested that anyone be violent." He talks about Trump and Mar-a-Lago. What do you say to his claim that he never suggested anybody do any violence towards you?
Well, I had 6 ribs broken, 3 of them dislocated where they rubbed on each other for weeks and weeks till they healed. They damaged my lung. I had pneumonia twice. A year later, I was coughing up blood, then had to have a portion of my lung removed, then got an infection in the space between the lung and the chest wall, and almost died from that, and have permanent scarring of my lung. And he's offering a guy to buy drinks if somebody will do it again and finish the job. That sounds to me like he's advocating violence. Sounds like he's a despicable human. But think also about what he's angry about. He's an irrational idiot. He's angry because I'm not getting vaccinated. Well, guess what? In India, there's not enough vaccines. Do you think we should be debating whether people in India should be getting the vaccine who have already had the disease, or whether we should save the vaccine for those who have not gotten the disease? This is a discussion that is a public health discussion that could save millions of lives. In Israel, they discovered that those who had gotten the disease survived equally well to those who had gotten the vaccine. It's about the same. So when there's not enough vaccine for the world, the advice to the countries who don't have enough vaccine is incredibly important. Millions of lives depend on it. And that's the idea that I have, that you should vaccinate first those who have not had the disease and let the people who have had the disease count on their natural immunity. Nobody wants to get infected, but if you've been infected, you have some natural immunity. This should not be a political issue. They should not want to kill me and send anthrax to my house.
He's 100% correct. The reason this is happening is because, first thing, he went after Fauci when it came to the mask mandates they were having, and then what happened? CDC actually agreed with him and dropped the masks. where you don't have to wear them all the time. You only have to wear them in certain situations. They're also going after him because he went after Fauci about the gain of function research that he was funding all over the world, including China. Of course, Fauci said that Ron Paul was wrong, and so on and so forth. Well, the fact is he was funding that lab in Wuhan, the lab where they were doing gain of function research. He was doing that. He says that they were not funding that actual lab to do that. Well, it doesn't matter. The fact is, taxpayer money went there, and that's the kind of research they were doing. Whether you knew it or not, doesn't matter. You are still responsible for what was happening in that lab. I'm not saying that's where COVID came from. But what I'm saying is, if it is where it came from, you are personally responsible for what happened. And then they're also mad at him because he came out and said, I'm not getting the vaccine because I've already had the disease. I already have some immunity to it. People that hasn't had the disease should be getting the vaccine before I do. That is logical. What's wrong with him saying that? Nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. He's being logical about it. I mean, I just don't understand where people from the left are going apeshit crazy on him about this when he's right. And he's a doctor. You know, he knows the science of it, of how vaccines work. And he knows the science of how it works whenever you get actually infected by a disease and you fight it off. You have some immunity to the disease again if you get it again, so the symptoms not as bad as it was before. But I also want to look at this other story about him. An amendment by Rand Paul barring the NIH from funding some types of research in China passed in the Senate amid new debate on COVID origins. Now, guys, there's certain words I can't see on YouTube because I get in trouble, so just bear with me. An amendment by Rand Paul to ban NIH from funding certain research in China passed in the Senate. An amendment banning funding from going to the Wuhan Institute of Virology was also approved. There has been new calls to determine if the COVID pandemic was accidentally leaked from a lab. An amendment that would ban National Institute of Health from funding certain types of research was approved by the Senate on Tuesday, amid new debate on whether or not the COVID originated in the Chinese lab. The amendment by the GOP Senator Rand Paul was added to the Endless Frontier Act, a broader technology investment bill. It bans the NIH from gain of function research, which is research that alters an organism or disease to make it more transmissible or pathogenic. We don't know whether the pandemic started in a lab in Wuhan or evolved naturally. Paul, who is a medical doctor, said in a statement, while many still deny funding gain of function research in Wuhan, experts believe otherwise. The passage of my amendment ensures that this will never happen again in the future. No taxpayer money should ever have been used to fund gain of function research in Wuhan. Now we have permanently put it to a stop. In a hearing this month, Dr. Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, told Paul his claims that the NIH fund gain of function research to China are false. Senator Paul, with all due respect, you are entirely and completely incorrect that the NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain of function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology, Fauci said. This comes as experts call for a reevaluation of whether the COVID pandemic was triggered by an accident at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. He did the right thing by putting that amendment in that bill. We shouldn't be doing this kind of research. This kind of research is something that seriously do a lot of damage to the world. And if it got released, I mean, perfect example is what's happened now. Not that I'm saying that is what happened, but if it is, it's a perfect example of the kind of the reason we don't need to be doing this kind of research in the first place. You know, we're pretty much playing God by doing so. That's not our place to do. That's the reason cloning should be illegal and things like that. And this is an example of why something like this should be illegal. Changing the nature of an organism to make it more lethal and transmissible to a human in order to find cures doesn't really make any sense to me. But that's my opinion. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Please hit like and subscribe. Helps the channel grow. Peace.